Hello, Roland here. In a recent decision, the Supreme Court struck down as unconstitutional a Louisiana law that requires the state's abortion doctors to have admitting privileges at a local hospital. Chief Justice John Roberts cast the deciding vote in the 5-4 decision. The majority opinion, penned by Justice Stephen Breyer, noted that the law would have put an undue burden on a woman's ability to access abortion in the state and would do little to advance women's health care. This was the same basic reasoning used to overturn a similar law that had passed in Texas several years ago. For the pro-life community, this ruling is discouraging for a couple of reasons. First, it makes it very difficult for other states to pass and keep similar laws. Louisiana drafted its law based on the failed Texas law, thinking they had found a way to write the law in a way that would overcome the obstacles that the Texas law succumbed to. But despite the differences, both laws failed for essentially the same reason. Second, this ruling demonstrates how far we may be from making significant steps forward towards overturning Roe v. Wade. This court is proving how hard it is to rule consistently on the abortion issue. Of note, Justice Roberts dissented regarding the Texas law, saying that it should stand, but now, citing court precedent, ruled against the Louisiana law as unconstitutional. How odd. Frankly, using this logic, I would be a slave because there were several Supreme Court rulings that said that people who look like me were property. In any case, Roe presents a much larger legal hurdle to get over than laws about admitting privileges in hospitals. Finally, this is a setback for women's health, despite what the majority wrote in its opinion. Louisiana's law, written by Democratic Louisiana State Senator Katrina Jackson, attempted to bring abortion in line with the standards used for other outpatient medical procedures. But the undue burden hurdle appears to be too hard for many pro-life laws to get over. Since the law would have resulted in most of the abortion clinics shutting down for their inability or unwillingness to get admitting privileges, abortions would have, in the court's view, been too hard for Louisiana's women to access. So what does all this mean for the pro-life movement? Well, from a legal perspective, it is certainly a fairly significant setback. If the goal of the pro-life movement is to overturn Roe v. Wade, this ruling demonstrates just how hard it is to get a pro-life ruling out of the Supreme Court. However, I think it's important to ask what the ultimate goal of the pro-life movement is. Is our goal to overturn Roe v. Wade? Or is it something bigger? If it's something else, then maybe this Supreme Court decision shouldn't discourage us as much as we may think. As I've stated in the past, overturning Roe v. Wade is an important tactic, but should not be the ultimate goal of the pro-life movement. The goal should be to ensure that every child has the opportunity for abundant life. This means that we must be a pro-abundant life movement, not just a pro-life movement. Clearly, to have abundant life, you must first have life. So, ending abortion and overturning Roe v. Wade are necessary, but they are just steps along the way to a larger goal of abundant life. That is why CareNet is not just focused on saving the lives of the unborn, as God-honoring as that is, but also on building strong families, promoting and celebrating marriage and fatherhood, and sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ. After all, Christ himself was pro-abundant life. In John 10:10, he says, "The thief comes only to steal and kill and destroy. I came that they may have life and have it abundantly." So while it's appropriate to be disappointed in what the Supreme Court says, we must set our eyes on a bigger goal and boldly press on. Amen? Culture is upstream from law. In other words, laws reflect the culture in which they are passed, not the other way around. Accordingly, through our pro-abundant life movement, let us transform the culture as we seek to change the laws. If we're effective, we will make abortion unthinkable even if it's legal. Indeed, it's worth noting that even when slavery was legal, there were many who thought it was unthinkable to hold another human life in bondage. So let's work hard, by God's grace, to transform hearts and minds to the point where, regardless of whether or not abortion is legal, no one will ever want one anyway. Amen? Until next time, may God bless you daily as you serve him faithfully.